Check my watch. Good morning, everyone. Legislative Day number 10 will now come to order. Please rise for a moment of silent meditation while we think about those we have lost, mainly Officer Caprio and Kevin Kamens. Thank you very much. Councilman Marks.
Thank you. We have a Boy Scout in the room. I'd like to ask Neil Kolb to come forward. Neil is with Boy Scout Troop 124 at St. Isaac Jogues Roman Catholic Church in Kearney. He'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil.
Before we begin, let me just apologize to everyone for keeping you waiting. We're certainly respectful of your time, but there are some pressing issues we had to take care of, so please accept my apology on behalf of myself and my colleagues. Is there a motion to approve the journal for the meeting of May 7th?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. The journal is approved. Enrollment of bills. Bill 26-18 was passed by the council, signed by the acting county executive, and hereby enrolled. The bill was unsigned, was returned unsigned by the acting county executive, is still enrolled. As chairman of the Baltimore County Council, and on behalf of the council colleagues, it is my honor and privilege to deliver today's budget message for fiscal year 2019. But I do so with a range of emotions due to recent events. The optimism that often comes with the budget message is severely tampered this year. It is tampered by unimaginable loss. I don't know how we as a county have ever had to suffer through what we had to suffer through in the last couple of weeks. Just 3 days ago, we lost a young, energetic Baltimore County police officer, Officer Amy Caprio, a 4-year veteran of the police department and stationed out of Parkville, who was killed in the line of duty Monday afternoon after responding to a suspicious vehicle in Perry Hall. She was only 29 years old. 4 teenagers have been arrested and charged in connection with her death. I have mixed emotions of anger and sorrow, and my heart breaks for the family and a life cut short. At the same time, I try to wrap my head around how something like this happens. I can't help but wonder, what were these and other juveniles that seem to be committing more and more crimes are thinking? Or simply, are they not thinking? Not thinking of others, not thinking of consequences. It defies explanation. She was named Officer of the Month for Parkville Precinct in December and had a bright future ahead of her. So please join me in keeping Officer Caprio and her family in our prayers. And although it has now been 2 weeks since the passing of my good friend and our county executive, Kevin Kamens, his death is still at the forefront of an extremely difficult time. At 60, he also left us much too early. The government continues to run and perform its duties for our citizens. That is job number one. Grass gets mowed from county parks and fields. Trash is still picked up each week. Potholes are filled. Permits are issued for various construction projects. Development plans are reviewed by various county agencies. Code and building inspectors continue to be out in the field. Our first responders are out there keeping us safe, and business is still being done in Baltimore County. But make no mistake, there is and continues to be a profound void in the county that will not soon be replaced. These are uncharted waters here in Baltimore County. We have never before had to deal with the suddenness and the grief that goes with losing the county executive so tragically. I doubt things will truly be back to normal for some time. For some things may never be the same. As it is with many of you, this loss is very personal. Kevin Kamenetz was a person I spoke with often, almost daily. If not talking, we were texting each other, and was someone whose advice I sought and relied on. He was my friend, and I was happy to be one of his most ardent supporters. I learned a great deal from dealing with him about politics and how to get things done. He taught me to look at things that would not only benefit my district, but also not to lose sight of the bigger picture, the greater good for Baltimore County. He was a no-nonsense leader. Some might say brash and perhaps a bit too confident. Maybe that's true. But he was also a man who saw the best and the brightest days for Baltimore County and the state of Maryland ahead. He was also looking forward and tried to find creative ways to make life in Baltimore County better for all of us. I will miss him terribly, and I wish him Godspeed in heaven. To his wife, Jill, and sons, Carson and Dylan, please know that our thoughts and prayers are with you. I know that you still grieve and mourn this tremendous loss, the loss of a husband and father, but also know that there will be better days ahead, especially for Carson and Dylan. The legacy of your father will be for each of you to go on and live a good, productive life. That will help keep his memory going. You will have the love and support of so many people whose lives your father touched to help you achieve your goals. And so, my friends, it is with a heavy heart I deliver this morning budget message. Today, for fiscal year 2019, we adapt a total operating budget of almost $3.3 billion, which includes a general fund budget of just over $2 billion, and a capital budget of just over $71 million. We adopt the budget and fund the government for this fiscal year, once again holding the line on property and income tax rates. Normally people clap when I say that, but that's okay. This also means, though, that once again we are striving to provide our residents with the services they need and desire, but with limited financial resources. Fortunately, the county has maintained its AAA bond rating, which will allow us to borrow funds at the least or the lowest interest rate for projects that are necessary to improve facilities and infrastructure and enhance the quality of life for our residents. Perhaps the most important area where the county has leveraged this bond rating and financial might is in public education. It is no secret that the education of our children is one of the most, if not the most, important responsibility of local government. In fact, the Maryland Constitution requires a thorough and efficient system of public schools, including maintenance of those schools, Not only have we funded public education well above maintenance of effort levels on the operational side, we have also continued the massive capital investment initiated by Kevin Kamenetz and approved by the County Council during his past term. You may remember when County Executive Kamenetz and several members of this council took office in late 2010. The effects of the severe recession was being felt throughout the country. And we felt those effects here in Baltimore County as well. The housing bubble had burst, job growth was minimal, wages were stagnant, and county revenues were in steep decline. And at that same time, we were confronted by the challenge of one of the oldest inventories of school buildings in the state. We were faced with the inconsistency of having great, high-achieving schools, but also having many school buildings that were overcrowded and in disrepair. A solution to this problem required a bold response. Parents were demanding, and rightfully so, that county government take aggressive action to solve the school overcrowding problem, aging building, and lack of central air conditioning in schools throughout the county. It would have been easy and probably the politically safe approach to add a few projects each year and make symbolic gestures that the county was tackling this problem. But it would have solved the problem of overcrowding schools and schools with no air conditioning? Of course not. Did County Executive Kamenetz and the members of the County Council settle for symbolism? Definitely not. Instead, the County Executive and the Council made the bold and unprecedented investment in education with the Schools of Our Future program. Aside from that time when many of our schools originally were built in the 50s and 60s, the county had never proposed such an aggressive capital program for school renovation and new construction. The numbers were incredible. 7 years ago, 80% of our schools were more than 40 years old. Many were in disrepair, and 90 schools had no air conditioning. In response, the council and the county voters approved the executive plan to invest $1.3 billion into renovating and air conditioning old schools, as well as building new ones in the course of less than a decade. In fact, by next year, only 8 schools will lack central air conditioning. And in the past 5 years, 16 schools will either have been built or under construction or being designed. In addition, this renovation of our schools has not just occurred in a few areas. It has taken place in all areas of the county based on overall need. It includes the opening of new elementary schools this coming school year to alleviate overcrowding in the southwest area with a new Lansdowne Elementary School, the northeast area with a new Victory Villa Elementary and Honeygo Elementary, and in the southeast area with a new Dundalk Elementary that is in progress and will open next year. What makes this undertaking all the more amazing is the fact that until recently, we as residents of this county largely had to go it alone without much help from the state. The county forward funded most of the acceleration of renovating and building new schools without a firm commitment on reimbursement of those dollars from the state. It has been easy for state officials, especially in election years, to talk the talk, which we were here in Baltimore County, we had to walk the walk on school construction, advancing all the funds needed to accomplish these projects. Over the last few years, two high-ranking state officials in particular have decided to politicize our schools by offering criticisms on the pace of new construction and renovations without any worthwhile solutions, or more importantly, without additional monies to further accelerate these projects. To put this in perspective, from fiscal years 2011 to 2018, the county has forward funded $171.5 million in expected state receivables. These fiscal years 2018 to 2019, the state approved funding of $129.2 million, with that amount pending final approval by the state at the end of this month. That still leaves a current balance of $48 million due to the county, and doesn't even take into consideration that the county continues to forward fund these projects. I would hope that next year, after all the political dust has settled, the state will authorize a full reimbursement of state dollars and that the county has advanced. I also hope the county's delegation of senators and delegates will make this issue a priority in 2019. We have also been fully supportive of the operational side of education funding. In today's FY 2019 budget, we once again fund the public school system above maintenance of effort levels. In fact, this year, we provide funding at more than $25 million above maintenance of efforts allowed to Baltimore County Public Schools to fund its educational programs and a full complement of teachers. We also approved an $8 million increase investment in school safety countywide, including additional support personnel such as psychologists, social workers, guidance counselors, and behavior intervention positions, as well as an expansion of the county's school resource officer program for 19 additional police officers in schools. Make no mistake, the education of our children is vitally important, and we intend to finish what Kevin Kamenetz and this council started with Schools for Our Future. But there is a financial uncertainty ahead. We have invested heavily in education and in facilities, but we are at a point now where difficult decisions will have to be made in the not-too-distant future. We need to take politics out of these decisions and do what is in the best interest for our kids and for the county as a whole. So I'll cut right to the chase. Are the communities in the areas such as Lansdowne and Delaney in need of new high schools? Of course. Does Towson need a new high school? Absolutely. Are there still areas that are dealing with school overcrowding and projecting even more overcrowding in the future? The answer is yes. Can we afford to address all of these needs under the current budget framework? That answer simply is no, we can't. As my colleagues, Councilman Quirk has said, the credit card is just about maxed out. Therefore, we as responsible stewards of taxpayer dollars need to pump the brakes and not jump into planning for new high schools right now, especially when we can't assure the funds will be there for the construction phase of these projects. This includes $30 million in existing funds in the capital project for the planning and design of 2 future high schools. Instead, we need to allocate these monies to more immediate needs and allow planning decisions of that financial magnitude to be made by the next county executive and the next Board of Education, in consultation, of course, with the county council. That is the responsible and prudent thing to do. It is by no means kicking the can down the road. it is just the opposite. Rather, it is not making promises we cannot guarantee and not raising the hopes for the sake of political gain. Although we have invested heavily in our school system and the Community College of Baltimore County, we have also continued to be very supportive of the economic vitality of this county as a whole. We need sensible development projects in the county, especially good redevelopment projects. These provide much needed private investment, which when completed, give our residents new amenities and in some cases span entirely new industries. That also result in tax revenues for the county, which in turn provides the dollars we need for school construction and for the services our citizens have come to expect. Our economic investment includes the ongoing redevelopment at Trade Point Atlantic, the 3,100-acre industrial site located on the former steel mill property at Sparrows Point in Dundalk. FedEx, Under Armour, Amazon, Faisa Automotive, and Rural Farms have opened and are in the process of opening facilities at the site. The MTA has reestablished bus routes to the site, linking prospective employees to jobs. The Community College of Baltimore County is partnering with Trade Point to house training programs under the umbrella of a Center for Transportation, Distribution, and Logistics Training. Economic development also continues at a rapid pace in other areas of the county. This includes the Metro Center, the transit-oriented development in Owings Mills, which is in my district. New tenants there include World of Beer, Club Palisades, and the Metro Wine and Spirits, and a new 4-story Class A office building that has just opened with Salantra Select Suites. This is a 24-hour salon signing a lease for 11,000 square feet of that space. A $20 million renovation of the shops at Kenilworth is nearly complete, and the Towson Commons site continues its renaissance, and tenants such as CVS, Chipotle, Brown Rice, Korean Grill, Hair Cuttery, and most recently, Insomnia Cookies. The Circle East project in Towson on the Circle at Joppa and York Road is a $30 million investment scheduled for completion next year, which will further transform the former Hutzler site into a new destination that will include retail space and 371 luxury apartment units and a storage facility. The Maryland 43 area, extending from Eastern Boulevard and Middle River to the White Marsh area, is also in the midst of development. If you haven't driven through this area recently, you owe it to yourself to go there. It has become transformed from a huge stretch of undeveloped industrial land into an attractive mix of commercial, retail, and residential uses. The most recent project there, Greenlee at the Crossroads, is finishing 2 new office buildings with tenants including Poles Island Brewing Company, Spring Hill Suites, and Black & Decker new tool division headquarters. It is becoming almost a town unto itself. I'm especially excited about the future of the old Owings Mills Mall becoming redeveloped into the new Mill Station. This is a new 575,000 square foot, $108 million signature development that embraces the new model of an open-air shopping destination. It is currently being anchored by Costco, which is a 148,000 square foot warehouse club center, and will feature national, regional, and local retailers, a variety of dining options, ample parking, green space, and pedestrian-friendly walkways. When it is completed, I look forward to seeing this redevelopment stand tall with Metro Center and Foundry Road, which is what I call the triple crown of Owings Mills and the future downtown Owings Mills. When I think about these exciting new developments in our communities, I am also reminded of one of the County Council's most positive attributes. And the legislative branch of county government, not only are we the fiscal watchdog of the county's finances, but as members of the council, we are fortunate to have the closest connection with the people we represent. Probably more than any other elected officials. We're out there in the neighborhoods in which we live. We go to the same grocery stores, retail stores, and restaurants. We attend many civic associations, meetings, and community events at schools and senior centers throughout the year. And we learn day to day about what is important to those we represent. Especially over the past year, we have listened to our communities and implemented a number of policy initiatives that have improved lives and made your government more transparent and accessible. Last summer, we passed legislation aimed at holding county government officials and lobbyists to a higher standard. We approved the bill that requires county elected officials and department heads, as well as registered lobbyists, to undergo yearly training on the county's public ethics law. In order to be sure that politics and funding are not part of the comprehensive zoning map process, we also formalized our long-standing practice of not allowing members of the county council to accept campaign contributions during the year-long zoning process cycle. More recently, in order to give our residents a better opportunity to participate in public hearings for projects that may affect their communities, we strengthened the notice requirements for public zoning hearings. The law now requires that notice of a hearing be posted on the county's website at least 15 days prior to a scheduled hearing, and that 2 signs be posted on the property instead of just 1. That there be an additional certification to show that the sign was on the property for the required 20 days before the hearing, and that the sign be at least there 2 feet by 3 feet in size. We also mandated that the administrative law judge cannot consider a petition for zoning relief unless the petition is in compliance with the notice requirements. This issue was of particular concern to our communities, who often voice frustration that the hearings would proceed even when they were unaware that the hearing was scheduled. We also passed a bipartisan bill to give our residents more input into the county's budgetary process. This bill requires the county executive to hold at least 2 public hearings in separate geographical areas of the county prior to submitting the budget to the county council. We believe these measures will encourage our constituents to participate in this all-important budget process. In 2016, county voters overwhelmingly approved a change to the county charter to authorize a charter review commission every 10 years. This past year, the first charter review commission pursuant to that change was formed. The commission was chaired by former county executive Tad Ventulis, spent most of our last spring and summer studying the charter provisions and meeting to consider and discuss possible changes. Last November, the commission submitted its report and recommendations. This past month, the council passed several bills recommended by the commission to change the charter. In addition to a number of technical changes to update the language of the charter, we passed several substantive changes, including extending the life of a bill from 40 days to 65 and requiring the county executives appointed department heads to be confirmed by the council at the beginning of each term. The bills were passed will not be on the ballot. The bills we pass will now be on the ballot questions, and the county voters ultimately will decide at the general election on November the 6th whether to approve these changes. As part of the fiscal year 2019 budget we approved today, we have cut $4 million from the budget. We take this step to keep the budget within the spending affordability guidelines. The County Council established the spending affordability guidelines in 1990 so that the level of county spending is consistent with the economic growth of the county. During our budget review, we found that proposed budget was above the affordability guidelines with the inclusion of a $4 million credit from a one-time expense against maintenance of effort education spending, a credit that was denied by the State Board of Education. Although the county has appealed that decision, the irony here is very thick. We cannot count on a legislative credit against maintenance of effort spending from the state, yet we also don't receive reimbursement from the state for monies we have advanced for school construction projects. The County Council has never before exceeded the spending affordability guidelines, and even under the circumstances, we declined to exceed that level in the budget we adopt today. As I near the conclusion of this budget message, I want to thank my colleagues for their attention and hard work during this budget session. I also want to thank the county auditor staff for preparing the county's budget analysis packages, and our legislative central staff for their dedication throughout the year. I also want to thank the approximately 8,000 county employees for their service. These men and women serve the public each and every day with little to no fanfare or acknowledgement for their fine work. So today, on behalf of my colleagues, I thank all of you and express the County Council's sincere respect and appreciation of your dedication and service. During the budget hearings and our deliberations, a number of other specific issues came to our attention that warrant brief comment. These comments are set forth in Section 4 of this budget message. I would be remiss if I did not reiterate that Baltimore County faces difficult financial challenges ahead. We have substantial fixed structural costs and obligations, as well as infrastructure improvements, technology initiatives, and other capital projects that need to be funded each year. These are the cost of running a multi-billion-dollar government with complex needs. As school buildings and other public facilities age and need to be managed, repaired, and even replaced, and as overall costs increase, the challenge becomes even greater. It goes without saying that we need to balance spending with revenues. As we move forward, this council and the next county executive will need to make prioritized policy decisions that will continue to keep Baltimore County financially stable for future generations. In closing, I again want to pay a final tribute to our late County Executive Kevin Kamenetz. Indeed, he is gone, but he will certainly be remembered. He will be remembered for his 25 years of public service to this county. I can't think of a better way to keep his memory alive than for us to move forward, to make a sincere commitment to work together, and to make decisions that are for the betterment of Baltimore County. That truly is my hope. Finally, this Memorial Day holiday weekend, as you're enjoying time with your family and friends, please take a moment to give thought and thanks to the men and women who serve our great nation and especially those who have lost their lives protecting us and our freedom. With that in mind, take a moment to remember Officer Amy Caprio and keep her family in your prayers. I thank you so much for attending this budget message, and may God continue to bless all of you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman. Yes, I'd like to make some remarks about the budget message.
Go right ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I do have a few concerns about some of the contents of the budget message. First of all, the reference to two highly placed state officials politicizing our school situation, and I'd just like to remind everyone that these two individuals, the public contacted them. I know in my own district, hundreds of people in my district contacted them, so they did come to Baltimore County. They did see the schools in question, and they did see the deplorable shape of these schools. So
And they gave us no money.
And I reject any idea that it was politicized. As far as money goes, the problem has been, and I'm glad that the chairman mentioned that he hopes the county's delegation of senators and delegates will make the issue of funding a priority in 2019. In fact, it should have been a priority of the administration and of our delegation in Annapolis to work together to get our state to understand our predicament, to understand that we had the second oldest inventory of buildings in the state of Maryland. State of Maryland did give $1.1 billion in relief to Baltimore City because they had the oldest inventory of schools. And I believe that Baltimore County, I mean, certainly not $1.1 billion, but we should have been pushing for some additional help concerning the situation we were in. As far as counties forward funding, Montgomery's done it, Howard's done it, Frederick's done it. A lot of these counties have forward funded the schools. And the last thing I want to say is regarding Lansdowne and Delaney. What is in this message is a recommendation. Is that correct?
Yes.
It's a recommendation.
That's my thoughts.
Okay, so it's my hope, I think the chairman of the school board's here, am I right? Raise your hand if you, yeah, okay, good. And the school board understands the fiscal situation of our schools, understands the needs of our schools, and I think it's best left to the school board to make decisions as to where we go as far as school construction goes. And I would hope that the $30 million that's in the budget, that it'll be used as intended with the budget that was introduced. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Katz. Certainly appreciate your comments. You're certainly entitled to them. But the fact still remains. I guess I'm going to take exception to one thing. The county council is the fiscal authority in Baltimore County. Only we can collect taxes, raise taxes, and we're responsible for the money. So I can appreciate, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for the members of the Board of Education. They have a very important job and a very difficult job. But to be quite frank, their job is to manage the funds that we give them. They can't raise additional monies because that's not within their charge. On that note, I'll move right along to now call for bills for final reading and vote. Mr. Secretary, please read the first bill.
Bill 27-18, Circuit Court Security Grant.
Chief Sheridan? Oh, Tim Sheridan, okay. I have a badge.
Chairman Jones, members of the council, Tim Sheridan from the Baltimore County Circuit Court, and on behalf of the judges and with the support of the administration, come here to seek the county council's approval of a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $21,720. The supplemental appropriation is in the form of a security grant from the Administrative Office of Courts, and it will be used to upgrade a security in the clerk's office at the juvenile door window, which would create a more secure area for the workers and a better access to the public. If the council has any questions, I'd gladly answer.
Any questions from the members? No questions? Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 27-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Katz?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye. Bill 27-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Bill 28-18, sponsored by council members Katz and Marks, medical cannabis dispensaries.
Who will take this?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is simply a corrected bill that states that a dispensary for cannabis can't be within 500 feet of a daycare center. We don't allow it 500 feet from a school, and so we're just adding daycare center.
No comment? Are there any questions or comments from the members?
Mr. Chair, I do have one question.
Yes.
Just clarification from our legal advisors. Just to make sure, this bill has provisions that make this prescriptive. It's not looking backward. It's anything that's in the pipeline or anything that's done now wouldn't apply to this. Is that correct?
The bill is prospective only.
Any additional questions? Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 28-18.
Mr. Katz?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye. Bill 28-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 29-18, sponsored by Councilman Crandall, commercial recreational facilities.
Councilman Crandall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Bill 2918 amends the definition of the term commercial recreation facilities that is already found in the Baltimore County zoning regulations. I think all of us as council members have vacant commercial property in our districts. And retail is certainly facing a huge challenge, not only in Baltimore County, but elsewhere, with the pressure that brick and mortar stores have are undertaking through e-commerce. So this idea of experiential retail, which means people going to climb rock walls and go to trampoline parks and Pilates classes and kickboxing classes. These things weren't around when the Baltimore County zoning regulations were originally written, so some of these uses were not contemplated. As I said in the work session, I doubt anyone in the 1960s or 50s when these regulations were written that someone would think that someone would pay for their child to come and bounce on a trampoline in their store. So we're updating, this bill would update the definition of commercial recreation facilities. It would also, and I say this selfishly, it would also help to fill an empty or vacant big box with a trampoline park in the community of Rosedale, which we're excited about. So I think that this is just this bill is one step in probably many steps as we contemplate the new uses that are coming about for our retail centers in Baltimore County, and I appreciate my colleagues' support on the bill.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Councilwoman.
Mr. Crandall, I'd like to thank you for this legislation. I think this is a very creative way to help all of us who have those vacant properties in our districts, and I really do appreciate your doing this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And just, what the bill also does is it provides certainty to the business community that these uses would be allowed in these certain zones, We found that in the trampoline parks and some of the other experiential retail that has been approved in Baltimore County or has opened up, they all went through a different process. So there wasn't a defined process on how these things, these new uses could be permitted. So it would provide that necessary certainty to the business community. So,
Good work.
thank you.
Any more comments? Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 29-18.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Bill 29-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 30-18 is sponsored by Councilwoman Bevins. Zoning regulations, uses in BL zones.
Councilwoman Bevins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bill 30-18 permits certain manufacturing light uses to a property that is zoned business light. The bill's effect is limited to the Maryland 43 overlay district in Middle River. This legislation would allow property owned by a local business that is currently zoned BL to use ML zoning for 2 flex buildings that will house 8 to 9 businesses each. This will take currently undeveloped property off the market and put it to commercial use, which will provide jobs and prevent the property from ever being residential housing. The bill will help the property conform with the other zoning on Maryland 43 overlay, bringing more uniformity to the 43 overlay district. Business is booming on Route 43. Thousands of great paying jobs have flocked to Route 43, which is helping put Middle River on the map again. This legislation has the support of both the Essex Middle River Civic Council, which represents 23 communities in Middle River, and the Middle River Roundtable. In fact, the community had significant input on this legislation, and every one of the community's concerns were addressed. 2 of those concerns were, for instance, that this bill would not affect, would affect only properties within the ERDL and property zone BL as of the bill's introduction date on April 15, 2018. This bill is a result of how the process is supposed to work. All stakeholders were involved in the drafting. The community was given time to review it, ask questions, and have all of their concerns addressed. Middle River is quickly moving from a hidden gem to a model of how smart planning with active community involvement can truly transform an entire region of the county for the better. Decades ago, Eastern Baltimore County was not only the economic engine that powered this county, but the whole region. With all the progress on Route 43 Middle River and Trade Point, Atlantic and Sparrows Point, it is retaining that power and reputation again. This bill is another part of the process that is helping return Middle River to the vibrant part of the community, and I appreciate my colleagues' support.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Yes, there is an amendment. Mr. Secretary?
There's an amendment in your books, Mr. Chairman. It's sponsored by Councilwoman Bevins. It's a technical amendment to correct the reference in the bill to the Maryland 43 overlay district, which is the correct reference in the zoning regulations. It just conforms the reference.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, we have a vote on the, may I have a motion to approve the amendment?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on the amendments to Bill 30-18.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Ayes have it. The amendment is passed. Are there any questions or comments from the members before we call the vote on Bill 30-18? A motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on 30-18 as amended.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Bill 30-18 as amended is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 31-18 is sponsored by Councilman Marks. County Attorney, notice of significant litigation.
Mr. Marks, Councilman Marks.
Thank you very much. This legislation improves transparency and oversight over major litigation approved by the county. It requires the county attorney to issue an annual report on major litigation and provides mechanism in which the council can vote on legal settlements of a certain size that also require future legislative action. I want to thank the county attorney and the staff from the county executive's office for their consultation with me as we drafted this bill.
I understand there is an amendment.
There's an amendment sponsored by Councilman Quirk. There are actually two separate amendments. One is to increase from 100,000 to 500,000 the threshold amount above which the county attorney must report on cases that exceed $500,000, the settlement for which might exceed that. And the second amendment is to strike the provision of the bill that would authorize the council to actually approve or disapprove of certain settlements.
Are there any questions, comments on the bill or the amendments?
Now, I'll just say, Councilman Marks and I were working on this, trying to make it something I think we could get bipartisan support on. So I do appreciate your conversations, David, and I'll just move the amendments.
Okay. The amendments have been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second them.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on the amendments to Bill 31-18.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Katz?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
The amendments to Bill 31-18 is passed. Any questions or comments before we call the roll on 31-18 as amended? Hearing none.
I'll motion as amended.
Yeah, and I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Katz?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Bill 31-18 as amended is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 32-18, the annual budget and appropriation ordinance.
That was for,
Budget.
you're good? We're all good? Okay, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 32-18.
Wait a minute, wait a minute,
Oh,
wait a
wait,
minute. Don't we have an amendment?
The amendments that the chairman referred to in his budget message are already reflected in the bill. It's the $4 million reduction which the chairman referred to.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a comment. Want to
Go
make?
right ahead.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last year, I voted against the budget because of my concerns regarding school system funding. Specifically, there's a group of individuals in the county who had worked a long time taking a look at the STAT program and taking a look at other needs in our county, such as the need for more social workers, guidance counselors, and I forget what the other one, but social workers, guidance counselors. So what the problem was is they recommended reducing some of the STAT funding to fund these other positions I just mentioned because the students coming into our Baltimore County school system were having more problems. They have more needs. And the thought is, if we can help these students early on, then we're going to helpfully make sure they have a good life. And if they don't, it could end up costing taxpayers quite a bit of money. This year, thankfully, there are additional resources for the schools in the form of guidance counselors, psychologists, etc. And I would hope this is just the beginning of a program that will help students coming in our schools that are having, whether it be economic problems, personal problems, whatever, because we do need to resolve these problems now. I did want to say that I want to thank the auditors for their work on the STAT program. The auditors had recommended a cut of $14 million of the STAT program. There's a lot of public concern about it. It deals with the resignation of our former superintendent and concerns about how much we're paying for the devices, et cetera. I think the only regret I have is that we, as a council, did not adopt that amendment, which would have set into place a reduction in the STAT budget, and the school system would have had to reorganize that program, but I can assure you it certainly was doable. And this is a program that needs to be looked at very carefully. We know that an independent audit firm has finally been hired by the Board of Education of Baltimore County to take a look at expenditures, et cetera. So I wait for that report and its relationship to the STAT program and the purchasing. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Katch. Any more comments or questions before we call the vote?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Councilman.
I would like to offer an amendment to Bill 3218, and it is specific to Program 57, the Housing Office. I'm going to recommend a cut of $4,078,223. That is for the Housing Choice Voucher Program. It's an increase of over $4 million to that program. And I would like an amendment to provide that cut.
What is the amount,
Yes.
Councilman?
$4,078,223.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Chairman,
Discussion.
move to table.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to table.
That
We will-
motion is not debatable.
We will call the roll on the tabling.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Katch?
No.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
No.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
No.
The motion has been tabled. Any more questions or comments before we call the roll? Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Katch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks? Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Bill 32-18 is passed. Next item, Mr. Secretary.
Bill 33-18, the property tax.
Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman? Sure. Yes. I spent quite a bit of time with Lauren of our audit office and worked on it until about 2:30 this morning, so hopefully I'll be awake and alert. But when you take a look at the budget that's before you, well, first of all, let me ask, when you get your property tax bills, especially for those of us that live within the ERDL, our tax bills go up substantially in some cases. And most of that increase, in many cases, is coming from water and sewerage increases. And the first thing, I don't think I've heard any number in regard to how much our water and sewerage costs are due to go up this year. That's usually made,
I don't think that, I'm just curious, what would that have to do with the
well,
vote
it's
right
the
here?
bill, it's the bill that they're going to get. When they get their income, when they get their property tax bill, part of it, a large part of that property tax bill is the water and sewer tax.
I don't think that's a large part.
15, 12, and 8% in the last 3 years. It's been a substantial increase, and it actually has gone up more than the property taxes. So I was
Well,
just wondering what the rate is for this year?
I don't think it's necessary that we talk about that now. The question before us is
But
the bill.
shouldn't that be public?
Well, I'm sure it will be, but right now, I'm not going to ask someone to just answer a question that they may not have the answer to, and it may not be accurate. The question before us is the
May
bill
I-
in front of us.
May I ask if that's the case, that there is no answer yet?
Well, why don't we,
Because I do have comments about the property tax bill, and it's, and, you know, the point I'm trying to make is that the water and sewerage fees are a large part of the property tax bill that we all get. And
it is a part.
it's a large part. Now, Mr. Hellman, it's just not determined yet, that's all I want to know.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, Metropolitan District rates are going to have to go up this year. They will go up by a minimum of 12.5%. The Metropolitan Water and District System is an enterprise fund. It has to be self-sustaining. If it is not self-sustaining, the debt of the Metropolitan District is added on by the rating agencies to the consolidated public improvement debt, which would stifle our overall capital budget. Everyone knows, everyone's been told that for years, and the public as well, and the public will be communicated with them again, about the cost of treating water and processing our sewer. Everyone knows about the consent decree that we're operating under the federal government, and the city is also operating under a consent decree. I think we've all been told and heard and read about the attempt, right, and it's active and it's ongoing and it is successful to install new meters so that we can get precise readings on the volumetric usage by our citizenry. That is ongoing. The county has independently contracted with the vendor that the city contracted with in order to ensure that those readings are accurate. And what those readings are telling us is that many individuals have been underbilled for their volumetric usage. That's not universal. There are some cases where they've been overbilled, and that will be corrected as well. But there are many places where volumetric readings have not been there. They have been manual readings, and that was the whole point of making a multi-million-dollar investment in the system in order to straighten that out. That has been happening. Now, I don't think the public, when they understand exactly what it takes in order to treat water and provide it and to treat the sewage, that they will not understand. I believe they will understand exactly what has to be done in order to keep that going.
And I simply want to know the percent. I don't disagree with anything you said at all. I just for the fact of people knowing up front what is going on, but it still
The precise numbers have not yet been
Okay.
done. The volumetric reads, we have been doing the volumetric reads independently and checking them against the city reads. We are recording approximately a 95 to 97% accuracy rate, and that is ongoing so that we can ensure that the bills this year will be accurate and will not provide any information that is not matched up with what those volumetric reads are.
And this has to be determined by, what, June 30th or?
The tax bills will be printed at the end of June, about probably a week before, so that they can be mailed out in people's hands either 1 or 2 days before the 1st or on the 1st of July.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, was, as I said, I was on the phone with Lauren and looking at this last night and looking at the revenue stabilization legislation at the same time. If we have a goal of a rainy day fund of 10%, and and that's in this year's budget. And if we have a revenue stabilization fund of 10%, it's going to leave us with a very small $13 million surplus over and above the rainy day fund. So also discussed the fact that a 1 penny reduction on the property tax is going to reduce county revenues by $8 million. So we certainly can afford to do that. And I would move that we change the $1.10 rate to 1.09, Mr. Chairman.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Has not been seconded.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. I will move to table it.
I will second it.
It's been moved and second. Call the roll on tabling the motion to irresponsibly cut the tax rate for Baltimore County.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Katz?
No.
Mr. Marks? Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
No. The ayes have it.
There wasn't even a discussion before today.
Hmm?
I'm just saying, you're right, there wasn't even a discussion before today.
Well,
Catch.
it's frustrating to me that we have these budget sessions and we have these work sessions and we discuss all these issues,
Well,
and then we come here today and we want to discuss them again.
We-
The fact of the matter is, the fee for the Metro fee is independent of what we're voting on today. As we don't control that. We have nothing to do with that. That's a fee that's decided by the executive order.
Mr. Chairman.
That's correct, sir. It's decided by executive order, and if I can comment on the proposal that was just made, I would like to make it very clear that it was absolutely irresponsible. Right? There is absolutely, the council message, right, it was accurate in many respects in terms of the fiscal decisions that have to be made. Any effort right now to take an action like Mr. Koch recommended, I would tell you, would send a message to the rating agencies that the county probably deserves a downgrade. It's
Thank
totally irresponsible.
It's nothing but
Mr.
grandstanding.
Mr.
Absolute
Chairman,
grandstanding.
let's
Absolute grandstanding, again.
Keep your.
And Mr. Chairman, if I could, I couldn't agree more with Mr. Homan. I'm not sure if Councilman Catch was, at the county auditor overview of the budget and the operating and capital budgets, but these are not like times of, lots of flexibility there, and I think that's unequivocally clear. I'd recommend you perhaps look at the spending affordability guidelines again, and I'd be happy to sit down with you to review it in exceptional detail.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman,
No, any more comments?
I got nothing.
Okay. Do I have a motion to
Mr.
approve
Chairman, I have a
Bill
comment.
33-18?
We, at the work session, we never did discuss any of these bills. They
Where were
weren't-
you?
They were not
Where were
discussed.
you?
I'll give you the manual if you'd like. We actually have a presentation on it.
We did not.
Call
we
to
didn't
order,
discuss
call to
these
order,
bills.
please, 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 please. Do I have a motion to approve Bill 33-18?
I'll move it.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 33-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Katz?
No.
Mr. Marks?
No.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
No.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Really, David.
Ayes have it. Oh, boy. Please excuse me while I get myself together.
It's a campaign year.
Okay. Next bill, Mr. Secretary.
Bill 34-18, Personnel Law, Baltimore County.
Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 34-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Bill 34-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item bid, please.
Bill 35-18, Revenue Stabilization Reserve Account.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Councilman Katz.
Yes, I have some, again, I was talking with Lauren about this last night, and I asked Mr. Homan, basically, is the 10% rainy day fund, would the bonding houses suggested that, but my question goes to the 7% floors for the next 2 years. For the rainy day fund. In the bill, it has 2 years of 7% floors.
Excuse me, sir, it's not for the next 2 years, it's for a 2-year period.
Right, I know.
The structure of the fund, as the structure of the existing fund, was to provide the minimum that's required.
Right.
And 10% is not a suggestion by the rating agencies, 10% is a requirement.
Right,
In fact, the rating agencies compare us to the 3,000 counties across the country, and they have identified for us that even 10% is not sufficient for a fund balance. So the 10% is set at the minimum requirement for the rating agencies. The minimum of 7% recognizes the fact that there may be periods like the recently passed Great Recession where it is required to draw down on that fund balance because the alternative would be so much worse, whether it was cutting services or the like. The rating agencies recognize that as well. So the structure is in place so that you have a 10% and you can move below it, but you must come back. It gives you a rational period of time in order to restore fiscal stability.
now, that 3% jump after the second year does cause me concern because you're not allowed the third year then to go down to 7, you stay at 10. And what I was wondering is what did the 7% for 2 years, was that part of the agreement or what?
I'm not sure what you're asking
No, what
for,
what
but
I'm asking, okay.
I think for a second that that we should have a little conversation on exactly why that fund balance is there. We are a major issuer of debt, and the county is recognized nationally for its fiscal stability.
Right.
That issuance of debt is backed up by the fund balance. We not only issue debt each year to support our capital program, whether it's Metropolitan District or Consolidated Public Improvement, but we also have, and it's right here in your budget message, a large amount of debt already outstanding. That debt is in the secondary market. If the county does not maintain its rating, the reduction in its rating has immediate impact in the secondary market in terms of the value of debt, which means that bondholders then, must sell their debt at a discount in order to produce the interest rate that is expected to be earned as a result of the county's loss in debt. What the rating agencies are doing, and it is their job, is to identify for bondholders. They do not work for, the rating agencies don't work for us, they're not under contract to us. They are out there to ensure the financial market, the people who buy our debt, that the rating that they provide to the debt indicates the level of security you have in that debt. As a AAA, we are as secure as you can get. However, if we don't maintain what indicates our security, which is that fund balance, then we will lose that rating. And then we will have higher issuance costs, and then we will have an effect in the secondary market that will expose to businesses who want to do business in the county that this is probably not the place they want to be first and foremost.
No.
So,
So what this bill represents, is the minimum of what the rating agencies expect of us.
And What I was actually getting to is I couldn't understand why we have the first year at 7% floor. Why don't we have the second year as 8.5% floor? Because the third year, whoever is the county executive or the council, it's not going to be a huge amount to make up. Making up 7 to 10 is a pretty high jump when you take.
I would suggest
And
to you,
I was saying-
I would suggest to you, sir,
Yes.
that you go back and take a look
Yes.
at what happened during the period of the Great Recession that we
Yes.
just went through, and
Yes.
go back 20 to 25 years of the recessions before, and see the amount of time that it takes in order to deal with a sudden hit. And what I mean by a sudden hit is that during this past Great Recession, in one particular fiscal year, we had to make up and absorb almost $100 million. So what I am suggesting to you, that the 2-year period is a rational period of time in order to, and that is a period of time that the rating agencies have accepted.
And I agree. All I'm saying is, why isn't the second year, what would be the problem with making the second year a floor of 8.5 instead of 7, so we can ease our way into
I
it?
think I just answered that question,
I
sir. The
don't
time frame that
think so.
needs to, this is a $3 billion operation. Making a change within a 12-month period in order to move from that does not seem realistic to me, nor did it
Okay.
seem realistic to the rating agencies when we had this discussion.
So the 7% for both years was recommended by them, and also,
It's not about recommendations. They don't do that. They
Okay.
don't recommend, they don't comment, they discuss. You find out what they think and what they don't think about your fiscal planning when they take action. They don't sit back and tell people, this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do. And I wouldn't expect them to do that. They are rating us. They are not managing us. We are managing us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Holman. And any more questions or comments?
I don't.
Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve?
You don't require a
I
motion.
don't
The bill's-
need that.
the
Okay,
bill's
let's
before
call the
you.
roll, Mr. Secretary.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Bill 35-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 36-18, Employees Retirement System.
Any questions, comments? Mr. Secretary, call the roll, please.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Bill 36-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 37-18, School Borrowing Ordinance.
No questions? Mr. Secretary, please call the roll. Bill 37-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Bill 37-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 38-18, Agricultural and Rural Land Preservation Borrowing Ordinance.
Any questions or comments? Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Bill 38-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 39-18, Waterway Improvement Program Borrowing Ordinance.
No comments or questions? Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Bill 39-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 40-18, Parks Preservation and Greenways Borrowing Ordinance.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 40-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Bill 40-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 41-18, Public Works Borrowing Ordinance.
Any questions or comments? None. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Bill 41-18 is passed. Ayes have it. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 42-18, Community Improvement Project Borrowing Ordinance.
No questions or comments. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 42-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Bill 42-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 43-18, Operational Buildings Borrowing Ordinance.
No questions or comments. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 43-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Bill 43-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 44-18, Refuse Disposal Borrowing Ordinance.
No questions or comments. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 44-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Bill 44-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 45-18, Community College Borrowing Ordinance.
Questions or comments? None. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Bill 45-18 is passed. The council now consider all fiscal matters. Extensive testimony on each item was taken at the council's work session on May 16th. The witnesses who testified at the work session are also available to reinstate their testimony if needed. If a council member has any questions regarding a particular fiscal matter, that item will be discussed as a separate matter. I will now call upon the secretary to read the cover letter for fiscal matters 1, 2, and 4 through 7.
Fiscal Matter 1 is a contract with C.H. Johnson Consulting. Fiscal Matter 2 is a contract with Berian Contracting and Construction Company. Fiscal Matter 4 consists of 3 contracts for custodial services. Fiscal Matter 5 is a contract with Gannett Fleming. Fiscal Matter 6 is a contract with Baker Tilly Virchow Kraus. And Fiscal Matter 7 is a contract with Elaine Katz.
Any questions on any of the fiscal matters? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve fiscal matters 1, 2, and 4 through 7?
I'll move it.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on fiscal matters 1, 2, and 4 through 7.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Fiscal matters 1, 2, and 4 through 7 are approved. We'll now consider all miscellaneous business. Mr. Secretary, first item, please.
This is a notification from the Director of Budget and Finance regarding the awarding of contracts over $25,000 by a process other than formal competitive bid. Those contracts are required to be announced at the Council's legislative session. There are 3 contracts this morning. Hale Trailer Brake and Wheel Incorporated, $157,500. Popowski Brothers, $32,092. And Aero Computers Incorporated, $299,585.
Thank you. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 40-18 is a resolution to authorize the county to accept the donation of drug deactivation systems.
Dr. Branch? How's the good doctor doing today? Looking dapper as usual.
Good afternoon, Councilman Jones. Good afternoon, councilpersons. The administration is requesting approval of acceptance of 10,000 Deterra drug deactivation system pouches. They're valued at approximately $60,000, and basically the pouches are going to be used to deactivate the opioid medications. And so our thought is the fact that if you can't get to our drug drop boxes, we can bring them to you. And I hope that you guys saw those activations in your mailboxes so you get an idea of what we were talking about.
I did, Dr. Branch. In fact, I saw it on my desk at home, and I thought, what in the world is this thing? And I looked at it, and said, oh, that's the drug deactivation box. I got it. Still don't know how it got there, but
I actually used mine.
you used it?
I actually used it at home, yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Dr. Branch, I happened to be watching the news last night, and I looked up at the TV, and there you were, talking about the REACH program.
Oh, I thought he was in your house. Hey, what's going on here?
Dr. Branch, you're welcome anytime. But as I mentioned during the work session, this council not too long ago was concerned about our progress in dealing with the opioid crisis, and I think there's a lot of momentum that you've built. It seems like you're coming before us almost every session with a new aspect of this program, and you and your department should be commended for it. As we've said from this dais, this is an all-hands-on-deck issue that is affecting every single one of our communities. So keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions on Resolution 40-18? Mr. Secretary, no, is there a motion to approve 40-18? I'll move it.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 40-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Resolution, the ayes have it. Resolution 40-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 41-18 is a resolution to rank 5 rural legacy area plan applications.
Yes, Ms. Andrea Van Arsdale. How you doing, Ms. Van Arsdale?
Whoops. If I can adjust the seat, I will be doing well. Good afternoon. The administration is requesting the County Council approval of Resolution 4118 that approves and prioritizes the 5 rural legacy area applications submitted for state FY19 funding. In rank order, these are first, Piney Run Watershed, followed by Manor Area, Gunpowder Valley, and then tied for 4th, Baltimore County Coastal and Long Green Trust. The administration is also requesting approval of a 7-acre expansion of the Manor Rural Legacy Area.
Are there any questions or comments? Sounds good. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 41-18?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll of Resolution 41-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Ayes have it. Resolution 41-18 has passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Thank you.
Resolution 42-18 sponsored by Councilman Quirk. This is a resolution of the council urging the county administration to provide certain health insurance coverage for county employees.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I might, Resolution 42-18 asks the administration to negotiate with our healthcare system, basically allowing women to refill their contraception instead of every 3 months, every 12. And the reason for this is this just happened at the state level, but it doesn't mean that our healthcare plan falls under it. Matter of fact, many healthcare plans around the state are self-funded and they have their own rules. And so we're just asking Baltimore County to also look at what the state did and hopefully incorporate it for our Baltimore County employees. The CDC says that when we do this, it reduces the rate of unintended pregnancies and abortions quite dramatically, and I think that is something that has strong bipartisan consensus. I did want to note that is supported by Planned Parenthood, the Nurses Association, and many groups. So I ask for your support kindly.
Thank you, Councilman Quirk. Councilman Marks.
I want to commend Councilman Quirk for his research on this issue and his leadership, and I'm very pleased to co-sponsor this.
Thank you. Any more questions or comments?
I'd like,
Councilwoman Bevins?
yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to thank Councilman Quirk on this issue as well, and I'd like to be added to the resolution as a co-sponsor.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Yeah, this particular piece of legislation makes a lot of sense. It's common sense that these contraceptives be available, because as the sponsor said, the unintended pregnancies, abortions, I mean, they are, we want to avoid them as much as we can.
Thank you, Councilman Katz. Councilwoman Almond?
Yes, Councilman Quirk, I'd just like to thank you for this bill. I'd like to be added to the resolution as well. It's outstanding.
Well, thank you, Councilwoman Almond, not to be outdone by everyone else. I guess you could add me too, Mr. Secretary. Do we have everyone? What
I don't believe
what
that
say you,
I don't
Todd
believe that I
Crandall?
am a co-sponsor.
What say you, Todd
That's okay,
Crandall?
that's okay, let's just go with
Okay,
it.
And that's
we'll
okay.
we'll keep them.
I don't want to be either.
Okay.
I'll move the resolution.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Katch?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 42-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 43-18 is sponsored by Councilwoman Allman. This is a resolution to approve the refund of property taxes collected from Charles Way, who is a disabled veteran and entitled to that exemption under state law.
Thank you. It's my honor to move Resolution 43-18.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Katch?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 43-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 44-18 is a resolution to authorize the county to accept a donation of land. This is for introduction only this morning.
Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 45-18 is a resolution to authorize the county to accept the donation of land, also for introduction this evening, this morning.
Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 46-18 is sponsored by Councilman Quirk. This is a resolution of the council to amend the Baltimore National Pike Commercial Revitalization District for introduction this morning.
And Mr. Chairman?
Secretary, is there any further business to come before the council?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I could. It's my distinct honor and privilege to make a motion to elect Don Moeller as the next Baltimore County Executive. You know, Don and his wife Linda are Catonsville residents, longtime Catonsville residents, and longtime family in Catonsville. He's a great advisor and friend and mentor to many. He's a lifelong Baltimore County resident, committed strongly to public service throughout his life. Has a distinguished career in education, including former principal at Sparrows Point Middle School, former principal at Catonsville High School, former social studies teacher at Lansdowne High School, former assistant principal at Dundalk High School. He was also an area superintendent for Baltimore County Public Schools. In addition, I know all his children and grandchildren are all proud students of Baltimore County schools, whether graduated or still attending. So he's clearly vested in Baltimore County. Don has served ably for 14 years under two Baltimore County executives as one of the top advisors to former County Executive Jim Smith and former County Executive Kevin Cabinets, where he also served as Chief of Staff. He's a problem solver. He has a lot of bipartisan support on this council in the county, and I think right now we need stability. You know, I know that key advisors to the Cabinets administration are committed to making sure this county continues to stay strong and committed to doing what they can to help Don Moeller and help the Baltimore County Council, which I greatly appreciate. And I think if Kevin Cabinets was still alive, he would want to continue his agenda, of course, And who better to do that than his own chief of staff and one of his closest advisors? So it's my honor and privilege to make the motion to elect Don Moeller as the interim Baltimore County Executive.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been seconded.
Can I
We move into discussion. Councilman Marks?
Thank you very much. I agree with so much of what Councilman Quirk said. I do want to thank the acting county executive, Mr. Homan, the chairman of the council, Mr. Jones, all those who were involved this week during the shooting at Perry Hall High School. You showed a lot of strength, and I want to thank you for that. But I think this week's events, in my mind, reinforce the importance of bringing closure to this issue of a vacancy in the position of county executive. We need certainty, and we need a sense of finality. Mr. Moeller and I have had spirited debates over the years, as I think he has with every member of this council. But he
No, just you, David.
just me.
Just kidding.
But he brings administrative skills and a breadth of experience that will be a key asset over the next 6 months, and I'm very pleased to second his nomination.
Any more discussion?
I would like to, down here.
Yep. Oh,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
you're welcome.
I think I also agree with, echo what everyone said already. I'm thinking back to the hearing that we had last week, and I took notes, and out of the 16 speakers, I think 7 of those speakers did say Mr. Moeller would be a good pick for the interim county executive. And I thought about that as long I've known Mr. Moeller since the Smith administration, and he is a voice of reason, and I think that most people said they didn't want controversy, they didn't need any more drama, they wanted a smooth transition, and I think Mr. Moeller filling that position, that's exactly what's going to happen. We need peace and we need quiet right now. The county has been through an extraordinary hardship over the last couple weeks, and I think Mr. Moeller is exactly what we need. So thank you for all the work and conversations, and for the public that showed up and also had their input.
Mr. Chairman.
Go right ahead, Councilman Catch.
Mr. Mueller is unique in that he has worked very closely with the members of the council, with the administration. He's an individual that we know how he operates. And I want to especially bring up the fact that Mr. Mueller spends much of his time trying to resolve issues, and party affiliation does not ever get in his way. It's always the issue. And I appreciate that from him very much. And I've known him since he was, as I said the other night, principal of Catonsville High School. And I think that he's a good person for this job, because we all know him, we know the way he operates, and I have confidence that he will do what needs to be done.
Any additional comments? Councilman
Mr.
Crandall?
Chairman, yeah, I would just like to say, Don, our first meeting, it is in about 20 minutes.
He called dibs on the first meeting.
Right. No, I do want to say that on this council, we have our differences, and I think that was evident through our deliberations today. But you put aside philosophical differences in order to move things forward in the right way, and I think that's why Mr. Moeller has bipartisan support of this council. I think that what has already been said in terms of the county needing stability and certainty at this point is certainly true. And we also, we just passed a budget, and inside of this budget has numerous programs that are important to every single one of us in this room, including the members of the council. And Mr. Moeller, along with other members of the administration, were just integral and crucial into getting those programs defined and working on their implementation. And one of the things that I remember a conversation that Mr. Moeller and I had where voices were a bit elevated, and it was regarding school construction in the 7th District. And we now have an unprecedented school construction plan in the 7th District, with 3 new elementary schools coming in the next 2 years. And I know that Mr. Moeller was integral to get that program started. We have other programs that are a big part of what we do in our district, in all of our districts. And I think that Mr. Moeller's experience and his being, as I said, integral to the defining of what those programs are an important quality for this next county executive. So, thank you.
Councilwoman Almer?
If I may, I think this is a very difficult time for Baltimore County, and I think we have some challenging times moving forward. We heard the public loud and clear, and I do believe that this is the right decision for Baltimore County, and I trust, Mr. Mueller, that you will be open and transparent with us and all of those who need to deal with you as county executive. I believe that you will, and I'm counting on that moving forward. I do think Baltimore County needs this time to heal, and I think that you can help us do that. Thank you.
Any additional questions, comments? Well, let me add a few comments. I have known Mr. Moeller for a number of years, and I always thought him to be a very decent, honorable, and person of high integrity. And I certainly would like to say that, you know, during this whole process, I have steadfast in saying that I thought the person that take the job should be someone who was an elected official or previous elected official. Given that my position today is one that so many times I have nothing but the utmost respect and confidence in all of my colleagues here today, and it was certainly never personal with Don Moeller in terms of my beliefs about having an elected official. But the point I'm making today, in the interest of stability with our county, in the interest of referring to my colleagues who have made a decision and have come to me and said they think that this is a wise thing to do, and recognizing that I wish I had all the answers in the world, and I wish I was right all the time, and I recognize I'm not. So it is going to be my honor and privilege to support Don Moeller today, because if I have to go against my rule, I think he is a good person to do it for. So are there any more questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Secretary, would you please call the roll? Wait a minute. What number county executive will he be? Does anybody know?
Someone's got to know.
Come on,
I don't
Mr.
off the top of
Holman,
my
you
head.
have to know. You know everything.
This is the brain
Fields?
trust.
You're a historian. There you go.
I wanted to put a number on it, but that's okay. We can't put a number on it.
Somebody Google that quickly.
Well, okay. Nobody has a phone.
We'll figure it
Will,
out.
Mr. Secretary, would you please call the roll for the appointment of
Election.
for the next county executive of the great county of Baltimore, Maryland?
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Katz?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Congratulations, Mr. Moeller, next county executive. Mr. Moeller, County Executive Moeller, we invite you to come up and make some comments. Oh, yeah. You are the now County Executive-elect. According to the charter, you have 30 days to be sworn in. 30 days to be sworn in. You want to make a comment? I'll give you my mic. Okay, use his mic.
was not supposed to be this way. My friend and your county executive, Kevin Kaminitz, was supposed to complete his term in about 5 months. I think a number of the council members said it well. This has been an incredibly difficult 2 weeks for our county. We lost a county executive. We lost a heroic police officer. It's a time to heal. I'm humbled by this honor. I thank the council for the confidence that you've shown in me. I thank the entire executive staff and all the department heads. I cannot thank Mr. Homan enough for the job that he's done in the past 2 weeks. It's now time to heal. It's now time to come together. And I look forward to working with each of you, and I look forward to working with those communities in Baltimore County. I will paraphrase. Many of you were at the county executive's funeral, and I'll paraphrase Jill Kaminitz, who was so powerful and so eloquent when she looked at her boys and she said, "We're going to be okay." So I would say to you that my goal is, in the next 5 months, we're going to be okay. Thank you very much.
He has 30 days to do it. I'm not sure what the process is.
Next meeting.
Okay. Oh, boy. Today was certainly a busy day. Is there any additional business to come before the council?
I have nothing further, Mr. Chairman. No further business.
I'd like to make a motion, we move me as emperor. What? I'd like to be the emperor of something. That's a joke.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. The meeting is adjourned, and I'm assuming we don't have anybody signed up. Okay. Thanks for coming out. And now we go to the police promotion.